Good morning, traders. Edge with High Tech Trading Analysis. Today I want to talk to you about my volume profile composite indicator. Specifically, its features, the parameters, configuration, and how to set things up. It's extremely similar to my volume profile sessions indicator, which I just discussed yesterday. But there are some differences that need to be covered here. So let me start off clearing everything except for the composite indicator. A composite is different from a sessions from the standpoint that we're looking at one date range, not a rolling date range of like this day and this day and this day. We're looking at a date range. Normally, that date range would be from the very last bar back to however far you want to see the composite. Now, if I scrunch my chart further, you'll notice a yellow line. This yellow line represents currently where this composite profile over here starts. So from this point here, we have a high, a low, and a midpoint. We also show the VWAP and then the POC of the volume profile and value area high, value area low, and the previous close from the time that the session started. So the close here will be the close of where the session actually starts. Down below, we give some summary information. Our profile starts on Monday, October 2nd. During that period of time, we've had 4 million plus or minus volume contracts traded. Our range was $2.62. That was 262 ticks in this particular instrument with an RF factor of -2. That's something I'll have to discuss a little later. We had a net change of $1.34, so we had a range of about $2.50, and the net change is only about half of that, which is 2.63% down from the start of where we started our session. To configure, now this profile can be displayed on the right or the left, and then I can configure any times in between from the start of the chart to the end of the chart and any time in between and show a profile for that period of time. To do this, we use our drop down. Now, in our drop down, again, this is extremely similar to the volume profile sessions. If you haven't watched that particular video, you might want to take a look at that as well. But all of our values over here, our lines, can be individually turned on and off, as well as the histogram. We just do this by clicking don't show the histogram, don't show the histogram. And we can extend the lines. So if I want to see the lines only to be the width of the histogram, I can do that. Or I can set the lines all the way across my chart. Now, as far as the drop down goes, there's not much that we need to do dynamically on the fly other than turn a few things on and a few things off, other than being able to choose the period of time that we want to see the profile for. Now, I've gone through several iterations of this for myself, and currently this is going to be the way that it's set up today. You have two different types of profiles that you can choose from. We can choose from what's called a VPO or a TPO. From a market profile standpoint, TPO is a time priced opportunity, and from a volume standpoint, we say that's a volume priced opportunity. But just terminology is all. Currently, I believe that the TPO, I'm still working on the TPO portion of this, and it's not quite exactly the way I want it, but it will be within the next couple updates or so. But for now, let's go back, and we're talking about volume. This is volume. I have a short video discussing how value area is calculated, how the histogram is calculated and displayed. If you want specifics about that, please take a look at that particular video. Now, I also have a duration of time underneath that, and I can pick daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, contract, or chart, the whole duration of the chart. Currently, it's on weekly, so I'm going to look at the current week's value for my profile. Excuse me. If I had this set to 0, there's a number right underneath this. If I had this set to 0 and I reload that data, we're going to see that now if I stretch my chart out, I am looking at a weekly profile, and it's the current week developing. Now, if I want to add additional weeks to this, and I want to look at 2 weeks back, on my drop down, this means additional periods of time. Now, I say periods of time because it depends on what you're looking at up here. If we put this on daily, this on 0, I'll talk about this in a second, we reload this data, our composite profile is going to be today. If we use our drop down and add 1 to that, reload our data, we're going to look at today, the daily data, today, plus 1 day. If I took this to 6 and reloaded that data, I would now be going back 6 days. Now you'll notice this is our daily. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But there was a weekend over this. We don't count the weekend. The number that you're putting in that is the trading days number. We do not count Saturday as a trading day, and Sunday is really Monday. So we don't count the weekend in our days. Now, whoops, wrong icon. I only give you a drop down from 0 to 10 because I figure if you want more than 10 days worth of data, you're going to end up going to weekly. And if we go to weekly and we set this to 0, we go back to the way we had it. We just look at our current week, and we're starting Sunday night. Now I can add as many weeks to that as I want. Let's just say I want to go 8 weeks back, the last couple months worth of data. I have to change the time frame of my chart to be able to see the start date. Okay, the white lines here are actually coming from a different indicator showing me the rollover. The white lines are not part of the composite, but we do see the yellow line is where our composite started. So So now we have a composite profile going back 10 weeks. We can do this on daily, weekly, monthly, contract. You can pretty much pick and choose however far back you want to see and display that profile on the right or display that profile on the left. So in the indicator properties themselves, we can choose the type of profile, weekly, daily, whatever we want as far as duration goes, and the number of sessions to combine to that duration. So all three of these parameters are available to change on the fly in the drop down. What you can't change in the drop down is whether you want this displayed on the right or on the left. So here we say profile chart placement is on the right. Let's come over here and make it on the left instead, and we click apply. And now our profile is on the right hand side of our chart instead of the left. We can adjust the histogram width under histo. So if I wanted this to be 500, I could look at that a little more dynamic. You can actually pick out the low volume nodes a little better. It just depends on how you want to look at it. So now I'm usually looking at a session on the on my left hand side. Let's put this back over on the right. I've got a weekly. I'm usually looking at either a weekly. Let's just look at this week's data. I'll come back to this here in a second. We're going to open it back up. This is where our profile starts. Here's our profile and here's our values. Excuse me one more second. There was one other checkbox here. There's a little checkbox here. Now, what that checkbox will do was I wanted a quick, easy way to not show the current. So if I set this on daily and I set this on 1 day back, this is going to show me the current and 1 day back, and my profile is going to start right here at this session start. I wanted the ability to see yesterday's data only without the developing data going on, whether it be weekly or daily. I might want to, I look at last week's data without this week's data a lot on several charts. But here we'll look at daily. 1 day back, we'll check this, meaning we want historical only. We don't want anything developing. I'm going to click reload, and now we can see 2 yellow lines. So this is our begin date. This is our end date. This is our profile for the start to the end. And I can do the same thing if we come back up and we change this to weekly. We can see our start date, we can see our end date, and we can see the profile for that in between. And everything that's happening now and developing has nothing to do with what we're looking at. So it's very versatile in that I can set this up to look at any number of things just by a couple clicks of my mouse. For now, let's turn that off, reload that. Our end line disappears. We're looking at the profile from start to here through, and this is still developing. So as more bars come on, our values will change. Now I saw something in the indicators properties that we need to cover here as well. Everything is very similar to the sessions. We covered all 4 of these. Alternative start date. Okay, if you don't want to use my drop down for dynamic changing and you want it through specific dates, you can use this, use profile start date, and select the date that you want to start the profile on. Let's see, what is today? Today is October 12th, so we'll start this on October 4th. This will, by checking this, we null this and we're using this instead. And I click apply, and our start date actually starts on this. Now, there's no way of looking at historical data on this. I will be adding a start and another end date to this so that you can actually pick your start and end dates. But currently I only have the start, and you can't look at anything historically today. By the end of the year, that will change. As we go down, we change our histogram width. We can change our profile colors. The color that is outlined within the value area and outside of the value area. You've got colors, opacities. You can change that to anything you'd like. The value area percent can be changed here. So how this is displayed currently is 0.7, which is 70% of the volume in this profile, starting from the POC. Again, I explain that pretty much in detail in one of my other videos. Bottom margin percent, I give you a parameter here for this information over here in case you have something that you're displaying down here in the bottom right. You put text there, you do something, and you need to move this summary up. I give you the ability to do that. All of our lines and levels can be any color you want, any dash style that you want, any line width you want. I don't think there's much else anywhere. Down at the bottom of most all of my indicators, I will give you the ability to change the background of the icon that I put in NinjaTrader's toolbar so that you can match your skin of the theme of whatever it is you're using. I do mention, though, just make sure that in all cases of mine, if I middle click the icon, my mouse scroll wheel, I click, which is set up for a middle click, everything on the chart gets hidden automatically. And if I middle click it again, it all comes back. This is common among all of my products. You can notice the color now and notice the color now. I visually give you a representation of when it's hidden and when it's not, so at a glance you can see what's going on. So you can set those to any colors you want. At the bottom of that properties box, I saw oh, that's wrong. Oh, that's the wrong indicator. Okay, at the bottom you'll see the product version number and my website. Also, one more thing, here under visual, when we place an indicator on our chart, it normally lists the name of the indicator and several of its properties going across the top. Now, all of mine are adjusted inside the code to display it how I'd like to see it. But if you don't want to see that name up here at the top, there was a problem previously that if we just came in and wiped the name out here, yes, it would remove it from the chart, but it kind of messed it up in the configuration. I don't know if that's been fixed, but a long time ago, I stuck in another little property that says iText label. If we just click that and we click apply, the text label for your indicator will not be displayed on your chart. Just in case I need those. Now, did we miss anything? No, looks like we covered pretty much everything. As always, thanks again for your time and have a great day.